let's stay about this altitude. The snow also makes it hard to see exactly what you want to do. Let's see. I don't know. Let's pick a hill.
I check your back, turning right, maybe for one.
I see power lines off to our left. I'm gonna move right here. I think on this ridge right here, there's a lot of vegetation.
This one or that one?
The one right in front of us is a lot of vegetation, so I don't know if that'd be the best choice to land.
Well, we can find any kind of clear area.
Right there, off to the, like right in front of us, we could.
Right there?
Yeah, we could spin around and do a high recon.
Excellent, excellent. So, doing your high reconnaissance, there's, you can do circles, you can do racetracks, or you can do figure eights kind of over your spot. Whatever is appropriate for the landscape. So right here, if we're high enough, we can do circles, or we can do kind of a racetrack around it.
It looks like it's got somewhat of a northwestern downward slope, but it's pretty flat.
Alright.
I'm going to try and gain some altitude here.
So when you do your recons, you always want to keep about a 45 degree viewing angle. So if the ground were flat, you want to be at an altitude where the ground, what you're looking at, is 45 degrees down. As you do your recons, you also want to maintain your 60 knots.
I think it looks pretty good. Definitely big enough for us.
Okay.
Not really any high vegetation. Pretty flat.
Alright.
So what do you...
Now we need to figure out which direction we're going to approach from.
Well, if the wind's coming from the south, we could probably approach from this direction right here and we come back around.
Okay. So we're basically, on upwind right now.
Yeah.
We're about to make our crosswind. And you kind of have to imagine the pattern out here. We're probably 300 feet up. We may be a little low for a normal pattern, but we're all right for what we're going to do.
I'm going to kind of swing wide here.
Okay. So what you want to do is you want to do a downwind, basically. And as soon as you can no longer see it off your shoulder back there is about when you want to start descending and turning base. So you kind of find your approach angle. But we need to start descending a little more because we want to come out with
a shallow approach angle.
No, you don't want a shallow approach for a pinnacle. The reason for that is those winds coming up and over and then coming back down. You always want at least a normal approach angle. So keeping our eye on our spot. And if the winds are stronger, you want a steeper approach. So as you come into approach, you always want to stay out of 7 with power. So you want to be more than 30 knots and less than 300 feet. Once you get below 30 knots, you definitely need to be less than 300 feet per minute.
I'm into settling with power here a little bit right now. I think I'm going to have to do a go-around.
Alright. So let's do a go-around, and what we can do...
I'm just going to try and come in a little bit slower next time, and I think my altitude is actually pretty good when I came around. Yep. A little bit low on the downwind.
Okay, so pull in power. You go around, you pull in your power.
Traffic,
keep us in trim. There we go. Picking up our airspeed.
Alright, so I'm almost, it's almost out of view there.
Okay, so right about here we can start slowing down. And we can start our descent. So it's kind of like when you're turning, midfield downwind, you want to start that descent, right?
Yeah.
So we're midfield downwind, we passed it, we're starting our base, we definitely want to be coming down. And then we wait for it to be about a normal approach angle.
We're lower than the spot.
Yeah, we're probably actually not lower than the spot. We're probably about... You gotta remember, it's gonna look lower. Alright, so right here, that spot is coming into a normal approach angle. Alright? So now we're judging our approach by how fast that ground is coming at us.
Yeah.
So we can start descending, just nice and easy. We're at a normal. See, it's right there on our windscreen at a normal approach angle. So we want to maintain that. Also, you're looking at the backdrop just above that ridge. You don't want to see more or less. Okay? So just coming in a normal.
I'm really watching that 200.
Yep, looks good. As long as it stays right where it's at, we're alright. Alright, so we're starting to lose ETL, so we know we're going to need a little more power. And you also always do a power check to make sure you're going to have enough power to do your landing.
I got plenty of power.
Excellent. And last thing is, you want to land at the last third of your spot. I mean, we have a wide open area, so I'm not worried about it. But here we are. And there's our max continuous right there.
Awesome.
Alright, so now
we got up here way cooler way than this guy did.
Sure did.
The truck.
Alright, so now you do kind of what's, before you set down, you do a little bit of a ground reconnaissance. And if we're actually going to set down, get out, do something, you do a ground reconnaissance before you pick up again. So that basically just means you're making sure your whole aircraft is clear. And we also want to scope out our way out. So we see that the
power lines are right there.
Drops that way, but there are power lines. We see the power line, or the pole right there, down the center. So if we went this way, we'd want to stay above that pole. Okay? We're kind of in a pinnacle, but kind of also in a confined.
I might even drop off this side here.
Right. We just want to make sure we're not taking off with a tailwind. So pinnacles are usually airspeed over altitude. Airspeed first, then altitude, because you're going to get instant altitude. If you're in a confined, it's altitude first, then airspeed. Gotcha. So we could go this way as long as we have enough power just to get out over.
Yeah.
You know, the worry there is if the wind is coming from the south, we're going to get a downdraft as soon as we get out over also.
Yeah, I'm sort of at max continuous right now.
So what might be better is to go this way, and before we get to that power pole, we're going to kind of climb and turn to the right. Also, what we could do is we could do a little bit of a max performance, get a little bit of altitude, and then get some airspeed.
Yep, that's actually what I was thinking. You think we could clear this hill here and then drop off?
That hill?
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
What we could do, we could back it up a little bit.
Get a little more
room for... So let's just hover over here. We can just line up with the road, actually. Helicopters are so freaking awesome.
I know, right? I'm going to keep climbing here because we are going up in altitude a bit. So I'm going to stay at a high hover.
Alright, yep, as long as we're still around our power.
And I'm going to stop here at where the road starts to turn to the right, and then I'm going to turn around.
Okay.
While staying a little bit high because I don't want to come close with my tail.
So we could even just go up there and head off the ridge that way. You want to try that? We can do that. Looks like there's been some deer wandering through here.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, this isn't a bad spot actually. So kind of, we hear where it's clear. Just kind of come to a hover.
Tail is clear, right?
Keep the tail clear. Alright, so right here, basically, yep, this is beautiful. We're just going to head. Ground drops away, that's instant altitude.
I'm at max continuous here.
Alright.
So just ease it forward?
Yep, just ease it forward.
I'm going to do a gauge check real quick.
Okay, good
Warning
idea.
lights are off, RPMs are good, gauges are in the green, fuel's indicating a little over half tank, carb temps out of the yellow. We're good to go.
Alright, good to go. So just ease it forward so we don't have to use any more power. We fill in ETL, there it is. Now we just get our 60 knots. Bam, and watch the ground fall away. Alright, so now just we're looking out, we're keeping an eye on power poles, anything else out here. I am roasting.
Yeah, I am too. Oh my god, that is nice. Where did that come from?
Alright, let's head back to the airport.
Alright, so I need to